Ms. Ramya MK brings a wealth of 10 years of professional experience, having started her career as a lecturer in the Electronics and Communication Department at Bangalore College of Engineering and Technology. She then spent 3 years at Hewlett-Packard in Bangalore. Her notable recognitions include being named an Innovation Ambassador by the Ministry of Education and serving as the Single Point of Contact, SPOC, for Microsoft for Education with MIE certification. Additionally, she coordinated personal and professional skills and language development for the International Baccalaureate organized by the World Academy of Career Programs. She holds a postgraduate degree in English, a bachelor's degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering, B, and a bachelor's degree in Education, Bachelor's of Education in English. Currently, she is a high school teacher at City Pride School in Moshi, Pune. Hearty welcome, Ms. Ramya. Please proceed. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction and welcome. Salam sir, with your permission, may I begin?
Please, ma'am, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste and a very happy evening, everyone. Greetings from Extra Mile. Extra Mile is a leading educational platform envisioned by Dr. Abdul Salam, the founder of BTAC, to revolutionize education and training. With its unparalleled pool of resource persons, Extra Mile excels in providing customized online and offline trainings across India. So before we begin, I would like to express my words of gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam sir and Extra Mile Education and Training for considering me as the moderator of today's session. And a very hearty and warm welcome to all the participants for the session on teachers as leaders. So teacher is a leader who has the power to bring a positive change, foster growth, and bring out the full potential of a child. And today we'll be learning about the domains of teacher leadership and how we can succeed as leaders in small group collaborations. So before we begin the session, I would like to quickly brief you a few points. If you have any query during the session, please convey the same through the chat box. And to make the session more interactive, you may raise your questions. But before that, please raise your virtual hand raise button. Once your name is called, you may share your concern. And about the certificate, please note the previous Google link is no longer available. You will have to log into www.b-tag.in. If you're using it for the first time, please sign up. Once you're signed in, it's a self-explanatory portal through which you can download your certificate through your registered WhatsApp number. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to today's session on teachers as leaders. Now, before we begin, amongst us, we have the visionary leader and the founder and CEO of Extra Mile Education and Training and Bharat Transformers and Academics Group, Dr. Abdul Salam, who has played a vital role in the field of education. He is also an assessor of National Accreditation Board for Education and Training. He is also a distinguished CBSE resource person and master trainer. So on behalf of all the participants, I would like to welcome Dr. Abdul Salam to today's session. Sir, over to you for your words.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Saujanya ma'am, respected resource person of today, Ramya, our moderator, Biju sir, and all the leaders who have joined. In fact, everyone is a leader. As Ms. Ramya has rightly said, these are the days of collaboration and cooperation. Collaborative learning, cooperative learning, or collaborative teaching, cooperative teaching. And it's not just the knowledge that makes a leader. A leader paves the way, shows the way, and make other leaders. So it's our responsibility to see that we are leading others. At the same time, we are self-led, and let us make sure that the school or the institution in which we work is led by our wisdom, expertise, and skill. And in fact, everybody has unique skills and talents. let us find out and empower ourselves so that we become the greatest leaders and students will follow us. Thank you so much. Let's listen to Saujanya ma'am. Saujanya ma'am gave us a very wonderful session last time on chemistry. This time also she is very well prepared to give us a lot of things. I am, eagerly waiting to listen to her. So over to Ramya ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the invaluable words. So today amongst us, we also have Mr. Biju S. Pillai. He has vast experience in the field of education in many roles and designations, including being the principal of well-reputed CBSE schools. So on behalf of all the participants, I welcome you to today's session, sir. Over to you for your words.
Thank you, Ramya ma'am. Good evening all. Respected Director, Dr. Abdul Salam sir, today's resource person Saujanya ma'am, and all other respected personalities on the Extra Mile educational platform. Today, as we have come with a very good topic, teacher leadership. Actually, teacher is really a heart in the classroom. So as the blood pumps to the each and every part of the body, teachers' eye as well as attention should reach to every corner of the class. Teacher should know the pulse of the children. Teacher should understand the child very well. Know in the sense, including their diverse linguistics, cultural and religious background also. And our old way of teaching methodology, rote learning, has completely changed as the technology has advanced. Children are well equipped with all the technologies and they are having all the knowledge in their fingertips. And with those knowledge, they will be coming to the classrooms, wherein the teacher will be, if the teacher is not updated, then there arises the problems. So in all the ways, the teacher should be updated. The teacher should be highly cooperative. The teacher should be the second mother or second father inside the class, wherein the child can express every views or share the emotions if he or she is having anything where he cannot express directly to the parent. At least the child will have the mentality to share with the class teacher or the subject teachers. So that sort of a rapport the teacher should maintain with the children. Anyway, much more informations and much more realities we can come to know with our today's highly experienced resource person, Saujanya ma'am. So let us hear to her and I welcome all to today's evening session. Thank you all. Back to Ramya ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious acknowledgement. So now it's time to listen to the speaker of today's session. The resource person is Ms. Saujanya Yapuri, who holds Masters in Chemistry, MPhil, and Bachelor's in Education. With over 2 decades of experience in teaching chemistry, she ensured that her students secured perfect 100 under her guidance. She is also the coordinator of the NABET accreditation, the senior secondary coordinator, and head of chemistry department in Akshara International School. So on behalf of all the participants, I'm very privileged to welcome Ms. Saujanya Yapuri for today's session as the resource person. Over to you, ma'am. Please take the proceedings of today's evening.
Good evening, everyone. Warm greetings to respected Salam sir, respected Biju sir, and all the educators. Thank you, Ramya ma'am, for your warm introduction. Welcome you all for today's session on teacher leadership. So I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Salam sir for providing me this opportunity today to conduct this session on teacher leadership on this prestigious platform, Extra Mile Education and Training. So before I proceed, Ramya ma'am, the screen is visible and I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. The screen is visible and you're audible too.
Okay. So, dear educators, I want you all to use the chat window to answer this question which is put up on the slide. Share one leadership quality you admire in another teacher and why you admire it. May we use the chat window, please? If there's any quality you admire in another teacher and why you admire it, if you can use the chat window to answer. Passionate, Jiva ma'am, thank you for your answer. Leader who leads and not dominates, perfect answer. Courage, time management, creativity, straightforwardness. Okay, I'm getting lots of answers. Yes. So all the answers that I'm getting, all of those qualities are of leader. Thank you so much for your answers. So in today's rapidly changing educational landscape, the role of teacher extends beyond the classroom. Teacher leadership is crucial for school improvement, student success, and growth of our profession. So today we'll explore what a teacher leader means and how we all can contribute as teacher leaders. We understand the leadership styles in education and in general. We understand the 7 domains of teacher leadership, and by using small group collaboration, how can we all as teacher leaders be successful? So again, why have you chosen a career in teaching? Can I have these answers also in the chat window? What's the reason for choosing this teaching career? Dear educators, use the chat window to answer this question. Sakshi ma'am, Kavita ma'am says it's my passion. Passion. I'm getting the answer as passion from most of you. I guess that is the right answer. When you ask this question, what is the purpose of teaching? And if your answer is a resounding passion, I guess you all are in the right direction. I still get the answers, and most of you are still writing as passion and love teaching, to serve and to be the best guide. Yes. So being a teacher, if you are given a particular classroom of 40 students and you every day go to that class and spend your time for 45 minutes, you teach a particular subject, and so you're a best teacher using best teaching pedagogies. Every day you step in the classroom, you just teach your subject to the best and you come out. So does that serve your purpose as a teacher? Definitely not. Yeah, one purpose is to do your best as your teacher, but however, you have to touch the hearts of students and transform their lives. If you are able to bring that change in every child, yes, then your purpose of being a teacher is served. So, what you believe is what you become. So, what we think about ourselves determines who we are. Most of us, maybe we are not confident that we are valuable, unique, or important. So it creates a philosophy in our mind that we are born only to be the follower and we are not born to lead. Right. So from our childhood, we have been instilled that thought that we are all followers and only few people are born or to lead. So I believe that every human being on earth has hidden potential of leadership. So we have to believe in ourselves that we are true leaders. To make you believe that, I will narrate a small story to instill that quality of leadership in each one of you. So there is this farmer who lives on the top of the hill. He takes care of his chicken there. So one day he travels down the hill to check on his paddy field. So while returning back home, he notices that there's an egg under a tree. He checks on the nearby trees if there is any nest, and he waits there for some time. And he finds nothing. So he takes that egg and goes back to his home. And after reaching home, he places the egg along with the other chicken eggs. After some days, this egg hatches along with the other eggs, and it lives along with the other chickens. To the surprise of the farmer, this egg is not of a chicken, but it is of an eagle. But still, the farmer lets the chicken grow along with the other eagle, along with the other chickens. Right, so it lives the life of chicken. It does what the other chickens do in that farmer's home. So one day, this eagle, sees a bird flying in the sky. So it becomes very curious. It asks the other chicken, what is it that is flying on the sky? So the other chicken tells the eagle that it is the king of the bird, the eagle. So this eagle asks the chickens, can we also fly in the sky? So the chickens answers that no, it is eagle which is born to fly in the sky, and we chickens are born to live in the earth. Okay, so this eagle believes what the hen told it, and it lives the life of a chicken throughout, and it dies one day. So this story gives us an insight about the teacher, our leadership, right? If our mind or our conviction says that we are followers, and we believe that thought, and we eventually die with that thought, right? So, but if think of this story, if eagle had come out of the safe confines of the chicken coop, it would have realized its true potential, that it can fly too. But it did not happen. So we as educators, if we start believing that we are born to lead, then we can bring that change in our mindset, and we believe that we are born to lead, right? So everybody agrees to the story. I want you all to pause for a second and just think that 1 minute that you are born to lead. Okay, so one answer I have got about the dominating character. If any person is dominating around you, how do you feel? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel angry? Or do you feel compromised, saying that, yeah, this person is born to lead, that's why she's dominating us? But if that is your thought, then you have to correct that thought, because leaders are not born to dominate. Leaders are born with certain talent, with certain skills, which makes them leaders. So we as educators should identify those skills, hone those skills, so that we create a mindset in ourselves and believe that we are teacher leaders. Okay, we are leaders, and we have that quality of leaders within us. So again, I will let's understand about the eagle further. This eaglets live in the top of the cliff for 8 to 12 weeks, and then when the eaglet develops all the feathers fully, the mother just throws the eagle down the cliff. So that eagle, the small eaglet, doesn't understand the changing environment where it is falling onto the ground. So it starts flapping its wings, and when it starts flapping its wings, it realizes that it is staying in the air. So it does it again and again, and then it realizes its true potential. So when we start believing that we are leaders, we may encounter challenges, we may encounter difficult people, but it helps us realize the true potential within us, which makes us live and come across these circumstances just like eaglet in the air. So, dear educators, let us change our mindset. And until we change our mindset, we can't transform that leadership quality in our children. So, let us find our own skills, hone them, and believe that we are teachers. So now that we all believe that we are born to lead, do you want to be a good leader? If it is S, get a PhD. When I say get a PhD, when I say it is a leader's mantra for success, do you think it is the qualification that I'm talking about? Definitely not. These PhD stands for 3 different words. Can you guess what P stands for? I believe all of you can guess. You can use the chart window to guess what P is. Somebody says power, perfection, patience. Notion, ma'am, says passion, and that's the word I am also saying. Passion it is. Notion, ma'am, congratulations for picking the right word. So when I say passion, ask yourself a question. Do you enjoy what you do? So if the answer to that question is a resounding yes, then every morning when you get up, you jump out of the bed, not because you have to go and do your job, but because you love what you're doing. So passionate people are those who are madly and wildly work hard to get their goals achieved. So the second word stands for H. So can you guess what H is? Sakshi ma'am says honesty. Okay, Renika ma'am also says honesty. So everybody says honesty. Humble, hard work, hard work. Okay, I will wait for a few more seconds if I'll get the right word from you. Everybody says honesty. Very good. Hema ma'am, you got the right word. Again, congratulations. The right word I say is hunger. So, how badly do you want to win? Are you really hungry for success? If you really want something that you will start going after it and do all it takes to get it. So if you want to win, you should first have the desire to want to win. Okay, so we should get hungry because nobody else gets hungry for us. So let me also tell you a story to understand what hunger means. So there's this man who goes to Socrates and asks him that I want to get wisdom. So Socrates tells him, takes the man to the nearest river. And suddenly, without even warning, Socrates pushes the man under the water with his head deep down. So the man really struggles hard to get out of water. So after some time, Socrates let that man out and he asked the question to this man, what was your feeling when you were underwater? So the man says, I wanted air. So then Socrates replies to him, when you want wisdom as badly as you wanted the air, you will get it. So how badly do you want to win? So that's your question. So have that hunger for success. Then you will get the success. So let us again see if you'll get the right word for D. Determination, dedication, desire, discipline. Again, Hema ma'am is in the right track. Once again, you caught the right word. It is discipline. So, once you're already passionate and your hunger for success is there, then you will see a road emerging right in front of you. Does that mean that the road doesn't have any roadblocks or obstacles? Yes, definitely there will be roadblocks, but it is the discipline that makes you do the right thing again and again so that you will win again. You are achieving your goals. So there's this athlete who has won gold medal for many years. So when asked what is the secret of your success, she said that I practiced when I felt like doing it, and I practiced when I did not feel like doing it. So as leaders, it is critical to show that relentless commitment. So there are several leaders, if you have observed, they are highly energetic on a particular day, and on a particular day, they are very dull. So that does not work. So leaders should work very hard. Discipline matters to them. If you are slogging hard, particularly when you do not want to do it also, that's the key to success. So dear educators, be that passionate, hungry, and disciplined person. So the success is waiting for you. Are you ready? So let's also understand the voices in our head. All of us experience this right? There are always two voices in our head going on whenever we encounter certain challenging situation. There's this first voice which is positive, which is optimistic. It says, go for it, you can win, you can do it. So these people are confident, they believe in themselves and their teams. Then there's a second voice, which is negative, pessimistic voice. I guess the losers have this voice dominating in their heads all the time, because the voice says, you're an unlucky person, you will not win, so why try even making it? So how do we work on this? How do we bring those positive thoughts in ourselves? So I guess to make you more positive, I will tell you another story. Okay, there's this man who has two dogs, a white dog and a black dog. So the dog fights that he attracts many people. Okay, so there's this lady who notices that every time the people bet on these dogs, which dog will win, and but this person always won, because whichever dog he has bet on, that dog has won. So after the dogs retired, so the lady goes and asks him, how did you know that which dog wins? Because always the dog you had bet on has been winning, right? So that person says, he laughs at that old lady and says, I know, because I feed only one dog at a time, and I bet on the dog that I have been feeding, right? So if you are feeding positive thought, that will grow and you will be successful. If you're feeding a negative thought, that will also grow sadly, and it will take you to disaster. So think positive, even the smallest things in your life, think positive, enjoy the success, and get inspired by positive people. Keep positive people around you. That's a very important thing. Keep the naysayers away from your life, and you will develop a habit of thinking positive, which will take you to the winning pathway. So we'll move on. Don't run your own race. As I said, leaders are the ones who have their certain talents and skills within themselves. You might encounter a leader who is very good at 10 skills and you are good at 2 skills. Doesn't matter. Celebrate your success and your achievement, and always learn to be happy. Again, emotional intelligence, I guess this is a key word buzzing around us these days. Even our students are not emotionally intelligent. We are encountering lots of cases these days, right? So, but as teacher leaders, as leaders, we should be emotionally intelligent. So what does that emotional intelligence mean? It means that you have to regulate your own emotions. So if a leader is emotionally intelligent, so all the team members feel valued, they feel happy, and there's a productivity happening around you. So how do you regulate your own emotions? Please pay attention. There are 5 key elements you need to work on. So the first is self-awareness. You have to know your own strengths, your own weaknesses, and you have to enhance your strengths, and you have to work on your weaknesses. You have to regulate your emotions, especially note this word. When a situation arises, you're not going to react, but you're going to take a pause and you're going to respond. That's a very key to self-regulation. You should be intrinsically motivated because you're a leader who has enhanced your skills. You have that confidence. So you should be always motivated, empathetic, being compassionate with people around you is a very good skill. And social skills. You can't be a loner. As a leader, you have to work with people. So regulate these emotions so that you're emotionally strong, and when a challenge arises, you're not giving pressure to the people around you, but you're calm, composed, and you're able to solve the problem with the help of your team members. There's this book called as Pedagogical Leadership, released by CBSE. So that book has these core functions given for a school leader. So we all believe now that we are born to lead, and we all are going to enhance our skills, identify the talents that we have, right? So we need to know the leadership core functions also. So pay attention to this. The first core function is influencing others. So if you have to influence others, you need to have the ability to change the behavior of others, and you have to achieve the goals without authority or without punishment. And you need to have intentional control to achieve your goals on all the stakeholders. Then the second core function is, we need, as leaders, you need to direct others. You need to make people, more people as leaders. You need to guide and support these leadership teams to set goals, to solve problems on their own, and all the leadership teams to be well connected with each other. Then we have empowering others. And so in terms of empowering others, we should instill enthusiasm, trigger curiosity to think out of the box, accept ideas of others, and enable others to experience a sense of self-worth. And the last core function is work with others. So always, if you see the key thing, so it's all about working with others. You have to have a cordial relationship, and all the members should have a shared purpose and work towards it to achieve your success. So I hope all of you are with me. Can I have a thumbs up or a reaction? Some reactions, please. Okay, thank you so much. So and this slide is also from the Pedagogical Leadership book. Thank you so much, dear educators, for your answer. So again, these are the leadership styles in education. If you see the literature, there are lots of leadership styles. And this is especially given in that book. And we all should know these 4 leadership styles. The first is responsive leadership. So as a leader of the school, we should understand, identify, and address needs and aspirations and expectations of students, teachers, and parents. We should provide opportunities for collaboration. We should be able to utilize the resources in an optimal way. We should provide service to all the stakeholders and use non-discriminatory approach and care. And the second quality leadership style is responsible leadership. So in responsible leadership, the leader has to be critically reflect on his own deeds, take actions on the decisions that the leader takes, and develop own perspectives on the school leadership, and develop a leading team in the school, and develop school as a leading organization, create working teams, use innovations and best practices for school improvement. And the third style is network leadership. So educators, pay attention, because after certain slides, we have a question round and you should be able to answer all the questions, okay? So the network leadership is where all the leaders, so there are leaders which the school leader appoints, and all these leaders are interconnected with each other. They share the responsibility, they have a shared vision, and all of them own a collective ownership, and create a culture of innovation, experimentation, and spread innovation, and share good practices. And the last is inclusive leadership. So if you talk about inclusive leadership, this inclusive leadership is a style which creates a welcoming and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and respected, regardless of the background, abilities, culture, ethnicity. It involves actively seeking out diverse viewpoints, promoting equity, and ensuring that everyone has a voice in the decision-making process. As per Michael Fullan, he believes that every child can learn. Okay, so that's why it is called as inclusive leadership. So we need to take care that everybody learns. All means all. So these are the leadership styles in education. So as leaders, we also need to learn the leadership styles in general. There are several leadership styles. The main 4 leadership styles are the ones which are on this slide. There is no single best leadership style that fits all the situations. Effective leaders are those who often adapt an approach based on specific content, the needs of their teams, and the challenges they face. So As leaders, we all should have the knowledge, basic knowledge of these 4 leadership styles also. So the first is autocratic leadership. As you can see on the picture also, it's very clear that it's focused on the leader. Advantages of it is because the leader takes all the decisions himself. He doesn't interact with people, he only dictates. So it's fast, it helps in improving performance in certain situations, less stress in certain circumstances, when to use, when quick decisions are to be made, and close supervision is needed, and workflow needs to be streamlined. So this autocratic leadership is has to be followed even in these days, and there is a lot of chaos in the organization, and leader has to take those decisions to make everybody work and organize, and everything goes streamlined. However, there are certain disadvantages in this. The team members, all the teachers feel frustrated in this leadership. And when the leader is not available, nobody knows what to do. Nobody takes the ownership. So it becomes a paralyzed organization. New opportunities are missed, and there's a communication breakdown also. However, the autocratic leaders are those who are decisive, who are self-confident, and who have that focused commitment to achieve the goals. Then we move on to the second style, which is called as democratic style. From the picture, you can understand the democratic style is focused on team, with decision-making shared across the team. The advantages are decreased risk of catastrophic failure, good working environment, and high performing teams. Disadvantages are because everybody is given a chance to make their own opinions. So the decision making is very slow, and over dependence on this team, because everybody is given that importance, and collaboration burden. When to use, when the subordinates are experts, and when it's necessary to create ownership. So the democratic leaders possess a curiosity that drives their desire for input from all sides. So their desire for participative environment also makes them great communicators, and subordinates all feel that they are easily approachable. This is a very good style, transformational leadership. So this is when you have clear set of goals, you have a long-term vision and high expectation. Then we have this leadership style of transformational leadership. Advantages are goals, balanced goals, trust, vision, focused on communication. Disadvantages, it can be ineffective in the beginning and not detail oriented. Then when to use, when you have that long-term goal, and everybody works together to achieve this long-term goal. Then we have laissez-faire leadership. The leader allows the team to self-direct. So this is the leadership style where all the team members are highly powerful. Every team member has the responsibility, personal responsibility. They are working very hard. The team members are working hard, but the leader is not working hard. You can see in the diagram also. So the laissez-faire leaders are excellent at delegating, and they instill confidence in the employees when assigning them tasks without oversight. Okay, underline this word. They are assigning the task without oversight, which means they are not monitoring. They are capable of providing constructive criticism only when you go and ask, and are often seen as trusting, as they willingly place responsibilities in the hands of employees. Is it clear, everybody? So go through this graph. There are many more leadership styles. I have put it here. Servant leadership is also there. Strategic leadership, and many more are there. Okay, so this image shows where different leadership styles have their focus. The higher to the subordinate skill level, 1 to 4 is given. the more appropriate that style of leadership is. Now, if you see the autocratic style of leadership has the high task emphasis and it has low people emphasis. If you take democratic leadership style, has task emphasis as well as people emphasis. If you take transformational, there is high people emphasis and less task emphasis. And if you go with laissez-faire leadership, you have both people emphasis and task emphasis is low. So by understanding these 4 styles of leadership, a leader can adapt their approach to effectively motivate and empower team members, drive productivity, and achieve organizational goals. So if you want to become a teacher leader, these are the 10 skills that the World Economic Forum has given. So now that all of you are inspired to be a leader, you must be wondering which skill I am good at. So look at this slide, understand which skill you are good at, and then hone those skills. Share your expertise with when you're a leader, you can't keep all the good with you. You have to share your expertise with the colleagues and with students. You have to collaborate with others to achieve common goals. You have to stay updated on the best practices and new ideas, and then you become a teacher leader. So as I have given you a hint that let's check what we have learned till now. So the first question, what leadership style is most effective in situations where team members are highly skilled and motivated? So there are answers given here. Kindly put your answers. Which leadership style is most effective in situations where team members are highly skilled and motivated? So I'm getting many answers. Teachers are giving many answers. B, C, D, B, C, democratic. Okay, so the right answer is laissez-faire. So this is the leadership so I can see Arokya ma'am has given the right answer. Sananda ma'am has given the right answer. Congratulations, teachers who have chosen the right answer. So let us move on to the second question. So before you answer, just take a pause, think and answer. We just learned all these things right now. What is the primary benefit of emotional intelligence for leaders? So instead of typing answers, just put A, B, C, D in the chat window. It becomes easy. A is improved decision-making, problem-solving. B, enhanced communication and interpersonal skills. C, increased self-awareness and self-regulation, greater control and authority over team members. So I can see again Sananda ma'am, Samina ma'am, many of you are giving C answers, but we are getting A also as the answer, D also as the answer. But the right answer is self-regulation and self-awareness. That is interconnected to emotional intelligence. Again, congratulations to the teachers who have given the correct answer. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Which leadership style is characterized by a focus on achieving goals and objectives, often at the expense of team member needs and well-being? So again, transformational, transactional, servant leadership, autocratic. So give the right answer. Let's see what answers we are getting. D, A, B, C. I guess we are getting all the answers. Again, read the question carefully. Which leadership style is characterized by a focus on achieving goals and objectives, often at the expense of team members' needs and well-beings? And the answer is autocratic leadership. So what are the core functions of school leadership? There is no options here. There are 4 answers, right? We have studied the 4 core functions. If anybody wants to unmute and answer, or you want to put up in the chat window. What are they? We just studied them. What are the 4 core functions of the school leadership given in the CBSE booklet handbook called as pedagogical leadership? responsive, responsible, inclusive, and network. Janvi ma'am, congratulations, very good. Sorry, so the direct others, that's the next question, right? Those are the leadership styles. So what are the core functions? You need to direct others, influence others, empower others, and work with others. So I guess now you can answer this question. What are the four school leadership styles in education? I guess Janvi ma'am has given the right answer for this. So the four styles are responsive, responsible, network, and inclusive leadership. So now we move on to the core of our session. Let me give you an insight about this teacher leader model standards. So there are certain group of teachers in the year 2008 in the USA. They have studied, they have done a research on 9 schools which are successful, which have teacher leaders working in those schools and achieved excellent success in the school. So those schools, they have started their research, and later on more educators, superintendents, principals, all of them, a big team, they have worked. And in 2011, they formed this Teacher Leadership Exploratory Consortium. And these people have given a model which is called as Teacher Leader Model Standards. So as per this model, the teacher leadership roles of a teacher leader they are resource providers. These are our key terms where we all, if we are assuming that all of us will work as teacher leaders. So this is our keywords: resource providers, instructional specialists, curriculum specialists, classroom supporters, learning facilitators, mentors, school team leaders, and data coaches. So where is the current landscape of this teacher leadership? If you see in our country, this it's a very beautiful concept, but still it's untapped resource in schools. Although organizations may try to limit its scope, a respected teacher leader can still profoundly impact school culture and action. And also this model is considered as career ladder for the teacher leaders, because it gives recognition for the teacher leader, and the teacher leader is able to support the teachers and promote professional growth. And these teacher leaders are empowered, and they are called as change agents, with driving positive impact in schools and communities, regardless of formal titles or authorities. So that's the beauty of teacher leader, because you don't crave for title or authority, but you are the person who is intrinsically motivated to bring that change in the educational system, to bring that improvement in your students. So certain factors can be addressed using this model. So teacher leadership plays a vital role in addressing key educational challenges, including teacher retention, to ultimately improve student learning outcomes. And the teacher leadership can address teacher frustrations also, such as lack of time and support, by empowering the educators to take decision-making roles and engage in meaningful leadership activities. Teacher leaders come from diverse backgrounds. Each one has a different skill set, and all of them have shared passion to improve student learning. So the evolving educational landscape demands active participation of these leaders in driving transformative change. I guess all of you agree that this Gen Y teachers are the millennials. They are the teachers who are freshers with less experience and who have chosen to be in the teaching profession. So if you want them to enjoy their work as a teacher, if you want them to be passionate in their approach, then we need to take care of certain things. They need opportunities to participate in decision making. You just can't tell them to go and teach and do nothing else. So, and positive and supportive environment should be there, which fosters teamwork and effective lines of communication. Professional opportunities should be given to include collaboration and technology. We should allot certain time for them to collaborate with each other and learn from each other. And as teacher leaders, we should be able to give constructive feedback to them and support them. Not just that, a fair pay and differentiated pay structure has to be given, and rewarding outstanding performances has to be taken care of. All of you, please observe this slide. There's this slide where on the extreme left, you have administrators leading the school, and on the extreme right, we have teachers leading the school. So administrative leadership where is like administrator is taking care of everything from top to bottom. All the tasks are done by administrator. Teacher network is where teachers work under the guidance of leadership team, and certain tasks are completed by them and certain tasks are completed by administrator. So this model promotes collaborative leadership, and teacher leaders is what we are talking about. So they work with the administrators. They complete specific tasks through teacher networks, and they take individual leadership roles to impact educational practices. So administrator is providing leadership and oversight and completes additional tasks. So this model emphasizes teacher leadership, administrative support, and collaborative responsibility for improving educational practices. So this is what we all are aspiring for, that we have teacher leaders in our organization which are working for the student progress. And the last is, I guess, it's hypothetical situation where there is no administrator and all the teachers are leaders and everybody works together in the organization towards the goals that are set in. So now we come to the 7 domains of teacher leadership, which is given by that Teacher Leadership Consortium. So these are our 7 leadership styles. You can go through them. We will right now go through one by one. And what is the role of teacher leader, we'll see. So the first one is fostering collaborative culture to support educator development and student learning. So here in this, the teacher leader understands the principles of adult learning and knows how to develop a collaborative culture of collective responsibility in the school. So what are all the functions? So collaboratively, problem solving has to be done, effective communication. So the teacher leader has to do conflict management, facilitate the resources properly, ensures that there's an inclusive culture. Everybody is involved, irrespective of their culture and diversity. And a trust building is something where teacher leader has to work on. Then second domain is assessing and using research to improve practice and student learning. So again, for working on this domain, teachers, we should learn all these 7 domains, because as a teacher leader, this is the knowledge that we have to gain so that we are able to work and contribute in our own schools. So action research is something very, very important tool as to bring quality in our school. So we need, as teacher leaders, first you need to identify the recurring problem in your school. Then you collect the data, study the data, analyze the data, and then strategize, propose a strategy, and ensure that your team members are working on that strategy. Again, get the findings, analyze that data, and collect the evidences. And this is how you work on. So identify those recurring problems, maybe in a year, academic year, 3 recurring problems you are able to solve. So from corrective action, you are going to preventive action. So then third domain is promoting professional learning for continuous improvement. So as a teacher leader, you have to understand the evolving nature of teaching and learning, establish and emerging technologies and school community. So professional learning has to be a collaborative task. teacher leader has to ensure that every teacher is upskilling herself with personalized teaching. So all the latest technologies are integrated in the classroom. Then data-driven professional growth is taken care. As a teacher leader, constructive feedback is given, and you're making the school ready with all the changes that is needed as per the current scenario. Domain 4, facilitating improvements in instruction and to student learning. The teacher leader demonstrates a deep understanding of teaching learning process. I guess that's the core of every school. So, and uses this knowledge to advance the professional skills of colleagues by being continuous learner and modeling reflective practice based on student results. So again, if you're working on continuous student results, you need a data-driven improvement. Data has to be collected, analyzed, and improvement plan has to be done. Reflective practice is very, very important. As you strategize and you proceed, you have to reflect on your own strategies, and you have to improvise yourself. Instructional coaching, and you have to be a mentor. Collectively, leadership teams should work together for the professional growth of the organization. Promoting the use of assessments and data for school and direct improvement. So again, if you need to know all the assessment tools that are there for the formative assessments, you need to know about the summative assessment. So complete knowledge about the assessment should be there. Again, data-driven collaborative analysis is always there. Critical reflection is you're analyzing the data and you're reflecting on that, and then you're giving an improved instructional improvement. Then we move on to the 6th domain, improving outreach and collaboration with families and community. So the teacher leader understands that families, cultures, communities have significant impact. So in this domain, you're not working only with your prime stakeholders, that is your students, you are also reaching to the families and the communities. So you're taking care of all the culturally different background families are coming. So you are competent enough to take care of that. Effectively, you're able to communicate to the families and communities. You're collaborating with these families, and you're ensuring that there are certain activities done in the school involving these communities and families. And that way community engagement is taken care of. Then moving to the last domain, which says advocating for student learning and profession. So the teacher leader understands how educational policy is made at the local, state, and national level, as well as the roles of school leaders, boards of education, and other stakeholders in formulating policies. So as an educational leader, you need to advocate, and you need to ensure that you know all the policies, the state regulatories and all the regulatories, all the these things you are aware, and you are designing those policies in your school. And again, collaboration and professional learning will continue. So we move on to the next segment. This is a very, very important segment, which is called as the teacher leadership competencies. So if you see on the first paragraph, there are certain institutes which partnered, that is National Education Association, the National Board of Professional Teaching Standards, and Center for Quality Teaching. So all these organizations have given a powerful model for teacher leadership that reflects the changing demographics across. Okay. So again, if you see this model, it's, as I said, it's a very beautiful model grounded in diversity, equity, and cultural competence. It brings together overarching competencies and 3 intertwined pathways that define the ways in which teachers can forge new paths in education. That is, let's understand this. You can take a minute to see this slide. So, envisioning teacher leadership. So if you can see on the extreme left, you have fundamental competencies. Again, this knowledge is very, very important for us as teacher leaders. what are the three fundamental competencies? You have diversity, equity, and cultural competence. And then there are overarching competencies. Overarching competencies are 8: reflective practice, personal effectiveness, interpersonal effectiveness, communication, continued learning and education, group processes, adult learning, and technology facility. And then we have 3 leadership styles: instructional leadership, policy leadership, and association leadership. So if you see this diagram, so you have to envision yourself, visualize yourself as a teacher. Okay, so there are leadership styles and there are competencies given here. There is no linear progression here. It's you can start with any competency and you can proceed from there. Okay, so there is no start and end point here. Anywhere you start and start working on that competency. And then if you see in the next slide, so this is on the left side of that slide. Foundational competencies are 3: diversity, equity, and cultural competence. So if you see these 4 headers, so as a teacher leader, you might start your journey as an emerging leader. Okay, that's your phase 1. And then slowly you transform from emerging to developing, second stage, and then performing, which is third stage, and then transforming, which is like you are that perfect leader in that particular competency. So quickly we'll understand what these are. So the foundational competencies are 3, as we have said. So effective leaders must prioritize these competencies. And if you see the first one, explore, challenge, and inequity. So that's our first competency. You have started working as a teacher leader in your organization. So as an emerging leader, what you have to know, you have to explore, acknowledge their personal identity and cultural background. Then as a developer, realize and understand that forms of oppression and inequalities such as racism, classism, etc. are real experiences that needs to be addressed. Then you reach to the next, that is performing. There you are responding consistently in an appropriate and effective manner to challenge the inequities. And then last, in the final transforming phase, where you are the perfect leader in that particular competency, you are proposing a model, you are proposing a design on equitable policies and practices to promote diversion and inclusion. So like this, with each competency, the teacher leaders to have to work on themselves. Then, as I said, we have 8 overarching competencies which are written here. And let us study about one: reflective practice. If you take and you begin your journey. So as with each of these competencies, if you see 8 of them, maybe you are already in transforming stage on particular competencies, and you are just in emerging state in a particular competency. So if you are in an emerging phase, then you have to upskill yourself, you have to attend sessions, you have to enhance your skills, and slowly, steadily, you have to go to transforming stage for each of these competencies wherever you are able to. Okay, so in reflective practice, you acknowledge themselves as a teacher leader. You acknowledge leadership areas in need for further growth. Then in developing, you help to create conditions to encourage reflection among colleagues and administrators. Then in performing stage, you encourage a broad, diverse range of stakeholders to reflect deeply on their roles and responsibilities within instruction, policy, association, and other facets of teaching and leading. And in transforming phase, you help systems to function with a culture of mindful and meaningful reflection. So like this, you have to work on these competencies. Then instructional leadership, I guess the title itself is self-explanatory. So if you are acting as a coach and mentor, again, as emerging, you engage in peer assistance for personal growth. Then you guide colleagues to make their own professional decisions by asking questions and encouraging reflection. Then you identify and promote colleagues who would be good mentors. And then you create opportunities for fellow teacher leaders to design coaching. So that's the last stage. Then we have policy leadership. Again, policy, if you have to get involved in the policy, that means you are already a established leader. You are an accomplished leader who knows everything in other processes, that you are getting involved with the administrators of the school to develop policies. So I guess you have understood. Again, you from emerging, you have to work on yourself and you have to reach to transforming stage. Again, association leadership is involving guiding a collective action to drive positive change in the school. So you lead diverse group towards a common goal, build bridges with administrators and stakeholders, advocate for policies supporting quality education instruction. So there's you have to go through this entire document to start working yourself as a teacher leader. So again, let's check what we have learned. So quickly, if you can answer, name the overarching competencies. Do you all remember? At least few, can you try? There are 8 overarching, at least few you should be able to remember. Educators, please get back on your chart window. Very good communication, Rabina ma'am. Janvi ma'am, perfect. One of the overarching competencies is communication. Can we get more? Few more? So everybody remembers, yes, adult learning also somebody has interpersonal effectiveness. Yes, that is also correct. Adult learning is correct. Then technology proficiency is also correct. Okay, we are getting lots of answers. Thank you. So these are the 8 overarching. Once again, I'll give you a minute to remember these. You have to remember these because as teacher leaders from today, we are taking an oath to be a teacher leader. So you have to work on these competencies for yourself. You have to start your journey. Even if it's from emerging, you have to go to the performing stage. Okay, so the next question now. This you should be able to answer. 3 intertwined pathways that define the ways in which teachers can forge new paths in education as per envisioned teacher leadership. So the 3 leadership styles I'm asking here in this question, which we have just done. What are those? No, not diversity. The 3 leadership styles, the ones which are in the curve, in that first slide, which we have seen in envisioned leadership. Yes, Priyanka ma'am, very good. Instructional is one. Then we have 2 more. Instructional is correct. Association is also correct. Arifa ma'am, congratulations, correct answer. And Priyanka ma'am, policy. Very good teachers, you have given this correct answer. So instructional leadership, policy leadership, and association leadership. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Name the foundational competencies. So the teachers who have answered the previous question, I expect you to give the right answer, or the other teachers. What are the three foundational? I'm giving you the key answer also. There are 3 things, right? On the left of that slide we have seen. So it is diversity, equity. Priyanka ma'am, again, congratulations. And the third one is cultural, Surya. Okay, so we got the answers correct. So I'm so happy that all of you are paying attention to this leadership session. So the answers are diversity, equity, and cultural competencies. So now we see some case studies which are already seen that they have shown improvement in their own student learning in the respective schools. So the first case study is teacher Sushma. She just joined a school and there's a lot of teacher attrition in the school. And with just 4 years of experience, she's been appointed as assistant to the principal. However, the principal did not support her at all. This teacher leader is self-driven. So she sought help from the coordinator, and then she enrolled herself. Not just in normal sessions, she enrolled herself in a graduate program in educational leadership to deepen her understanding. Then she developed a network of peers and experienced teachers for support and advice. So through leadership, self-advocacy, reflective practice, and continuous learning. So this teacher has enhanced her teaching and leadership skills through professional growth, developed a strong platform of core beliefs about education leadership, and became a model for other teachers, sharing her knowledge of best practices to support student learning. Again, the same teacher, she didn't stop there, okay? Then she understood that I have faced this issue, so all my teachers should not face this issue. So she went on, she conducted lots of meetings, and she gave that comfort zone to the teachers that they all opened up. So they discussed about everything, and then it's a safe environment that she has created so that open discussion happened and success was achieved in her school. Then we have two teachers, Sita and Geeta, middle school teachers. They have piloted some innovative classroom structure. We teachers, I don't think we go out of the box, but these two teachers, they went out of the box. So first they experimented, they have self-contained classrooms they have done. Then they sat together, they reflected, and then they thought, okay, it's not working. So then they mixed students across 2 grades, maybe 4th and 5th they mixed. Then the next academic session, again, they thought what should be done. So they implemented looping. So wherein the same set of students were together, again, working in the next academic session. So this way they have seen that there's improved social and academic outcomes for students, strengthened teacher-student relationships, and increased instructional focuses. So the school offered choice to the parents, choice between single grade and multi-grade grouping. So other teachers also adopted this mixed grade instruction and looping practice. So the same teachers did not wait only till primary. So again, this block should not be there in schools where the practices of primary are only with the primary section. It doesn't go to middle school or the senior school. So across the school, the innovative practices should be taken up, so that you see more progress in your school. So from primary, they went on to 7th and 8th grades. And again, they mixed up students, and they have seen that students have done exceptionally well. So that's how this interdisciplinary approaches have helped these two teachers. Then these two school teachers now, they did not leave it to the school level. They took it to the next level. They have involved other schools, nearby schools, and communities also. So there's a big pool of organizations working together and achieving student success. Then we have a librarian. She wants to bring some literary change in her school. So she created a leadership development plan, and she shared it with her administrator. Then she introduced a concept called as colleague critic to facilitate peer feedback and collaboration, established an informal school group, later on expanded to entire school group as critical friends group. So what are the results is that increased collaboration and conversations happened among teachers, shift in school culture with teachers recognizing their collective responsibility for student learning. And then Kavita gained visibility, credibility, and confidence as a leader, driving positive change in her school. So again, same teacher, a key member for her school's leadership team, played a crucial role. She collected, analyzed data to evaluate the advisory group's impact, so which she has created, using data to advocate for programs continuation and secure resources, collaborating with stakeholders to plan and retreat and write a successful grant proposal. Again, she got grants for it. Parents and students benefited from college visits, and this support school leadership team developed new skills such as data communication, group work, and grant writing. So this is the story of Kavita. Then we have a certain school, how the school transformed. You see, principals and teachers collaborated on middle school reforms, implemented again multi-grade grouping, improving student behavior and classroom climate. Teachers shared readings, modeled the practices, and observed each other's classes. So again, it's a very good practice. So if you are having an innovative pedagogy, you can invite other teachers, other subject teachers to observe your classroom. So that's what they have done. Principal and teachers presented it to parents. So when they have got a lot of opposition from the parents, what they have done, see, they have created a video, presented it to the parents, and they created newsletters, and then they conducted meetings. So this way they are able to bring positive change in the school climate. So again, our school teacher, Aditi, an English teacher, was part of the school leadership team at her school. So so teacher led with principals' intermittent participation. She introduced a think tank outside regular communication channels. So focused on innovative. So the teachers did not work on what ifs, rather than they worked on why not. So emphasized trust, honesty, and they had consensus decision making. So the team's initiatives established student advisory group with multi-year teacher relationships, launched monthly collegial lunches for teachers to discuss teaching and learning. So there's a cultural shift here. Teachers took responsibility for all students' learning, and professional learning communities formed to improve literacy achievement and measure progress. So these are some case studies. So I believe everybody enjoys tea. So as we remember the tea, let us learn certain lessons from the tea bags, the humble tea bags. So this is a beautiful story where we learn lessons of leadership from the tea bags, right? So let's understand what counts is what's inside the tea bag. So the tea bags, if you see, they have these fancy labels, they have the strings. The strings may be just humble strings, or they are made of some silk tassels, right? So what matters about the tea is not the labels or not the strings. It is the quality of tea which is present inside the bag that makes that is very important. So what's true for the tea bag is true for all of us. The fancy titles, qualifications, or the cars that we drive, or the dress that we wear, all this doesn't matter. It just makes us look good. But what really matters is what we are deep down inside. Our attitude, our belief, that's what makes the person we are. So the second lesson, real flavor of tea comes only when tea bags are put in hot water. So likewise, the true character of leader shines through adversity. Leaders actually, they relish challenges. They love the opportunity to test their skills and show their real mettle. And through these challenging situations, their real talent comes out, and we are able to distinguish between good leaders and great leaders. So a tea bag must be porous. What does that mean? How do we relate it to leadership? So tea bag, if the tea, just assume that tea bag is impermeable. So and you put that tea bag in the hot water. Do you enjoy the flavor of tea? you do not, because to enjoy the flavor, it has to mix up with the water, right? So just like that, if leaders are building walls and they are not allowing other people to meet them, they are not interacting with people, then the true nature of the leader is not known. What is within him is within him. So leaders should mix up with teams and be a collaborative leaders. So tea bags work wherever they are in the cup. So it doesn't matter, once you dip the tea in the hot water, it doesn't matter whether it's on the top or in the bottom or in the left. Just like that, leaders also, you should not worry about the titles or about your positions. So where you are in the position in the hierarchy doesn't matter. You should still believe in yourself, derive the strength within you, and then you should work what you are good at in your own skills. Then sometimes one tea bag is not just enough. When the cup is too large, one tea bag doesn't give you the enough flavor. That means sometimes you see that leaders are not successful. I guess they are not. It is not because they are not competent, but it is because the challenge is too huge. So leaders should not hesitate to take help from others. So taking help or asking help doesn't show the sign of weakness, but it shows the sign of great strength and self-confidence. So sometimes you want to add sugar and milk. So if that is your want, then without those two, you will not enjoy the flavor. So the leaders, what you have to do is you have to find the people or other leaders in your organization who complement you with your skill set and fill the missing pieces. So that helps you ensure that you reach the end results of your objectives. So the next. So always we should remember that someone holds the string. No matter how strong the tea bag is, it always recognize that someone holds the string and they can just pull the string and throw out of the teacup. So that's a humbling thought with which every leader should remember. Because there might be a person above you who is more powerful than you. Okay, so with this thought, I guess leaders should not let the power go to their heads. So we should always be humble leaders. So that's the best quality of a leader. It's all about how good the tea is, not the tea bag, right? So nobody says that, wow, it's a great tea bag, but they say, wow, it's a great tea. So leaders get remembered not for how good they themselves are, but for how good their teams and the school is that they have built. Okay, so too often leaders get caught up looking at the mirror, but they forget to turn the spotlight on their teams or organizations. So good leaders should never forget, it's not me, it's about my team. So I hope everybody got the lesson from the tea bag. So whenever you savor your tea every day, remember these leadership lessons. So be that humble leader and achieve your success. So before we conclude, I have two more slides: strategies for effective communication. So establish your goals, foster open communication, promote collective responsibility, provide a structured support, emphasize active learning. And what else we can do through this small group collaboration? How do we improve student outcomes? So we have to collaborate as teachers. So we can do peer teaching. Teachers work in pairs to support each other. Enhance professional growth. So teachers learn from each other, staying updated on best practices. Then professional learning communities can be created in your own school. And then increase teacher confidence, that boosts by all the sharing your expertise with others. So when you are an expert and when you start sharing, you realize that you are learning more. So don't hesitate to share your best practices. So teacher learning teams, collaborative groups explore the instructional strategies. So dear educators, keep this slide in your head for a long time. So you're going to take a lead. So reflect on your current practices, identify the areas of growth, seek out opportunities for collaboration and professional development, share your knowledge and expertise with colleagues to amplify the impact. So I guess finally, the key takeaways, you can just go through it. Everybody believes you are a leader. Can I have S? Yes. So you need to get a PhD to be a good leader. You need to have positive thoughts. You have to run your own race. You need to regulate your own emotions, and you have to study a lot. You have to do a lot of research, do a lot of reading on the leadership, read the pedagogical leadership book, and then every day when you savor your cup of tea, remember the leadership lessons. Reflect, collaborate, and share and take a lead. So as we conclude, I hope you all feel inspired, motivated, and empowered to unleash your leadership potential. Remember, your influence extends far beyond your classroom, shaping the minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's all.
Well done, ma'am. Well done, ma'am. Let's all give a huge round of applause to Saujanya, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Saujanya ma'am. The humble tea bag. I'm very sure that today onwards, teacher will teach all the participants will strive for the PhD, leaders mantra for success, by considering this humble tea bag as a stepping stone. And it was a very inspiring and impressive session where you were able to help us connect to the topic through those stories, through your pictorial representations, the anecdotes, the case studies. It was very impressive. I'm sure the participants today are going to take a lot of takeaways from here. So many things to remember, and they're going to start to be good educators and leaders. Thank you so much. Now we have queries from the participants. As I told earlier, could you please raise your hands, use a virtual hand raise button for the same. And
one Miss Arokya Mary has raised her hand. Whether
Yes.
it's a question or something, anyway, we'll unmute her. Miss Arokya Mary, you can unmute.
Sir, can you explain how to download the certificate once again?
Madam, there is a form I have, just posted. You just click the form. All the steps are written. First, you have to sign up with all the, your details and all. Once sign up is complete, you have to sign in and go to the page. All right. So, Ramya ma'am, I have posted two links. One is the web application link for downloading certificate, and the other one is the guideline how to download it. Inside the guideline, there is a video also, video tutorial also. They can guide the participants properly.
Okay, so dear participants, as Salam sir told, you can download your certificates directly from the website www.b-tad.in. It's self-explanatory, easily understandable. If you're using it for the first time, please sign up using your email address, which you're frequently using for the extra mile training. Once you're signed in, it's easy for you to download your certificate through your registered WhatsApp number. It will not take more than a minute for you to do this process. So as we don't have any more questions, because it's very clear to all the participants, you gave a very beautiful session and it's commendable. So before we wind up, we expect to see you again with another interesting session. And the participants, thank you so much for your enthusiasm. And it was very interactive, though we did not unmute you all throughout the session, but the chat box actually helped us to interact with you all. It was very good. I felt like I was sitting in a classroom with so many teachers as students. And it was very interesting and engaging session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. And Salam sir, thank you so much for your boundless support and guidance. You have been helping us with so many wonderful sessions, bringing so many resource persons with these sessions. Thank you, sir. Audience, you have been fantastic throughout the session. Thank you very much for being very active. Over to you, Salam sir.
Ramya ma'am, thank you so much. You are a wonderful moderator.
Correct,
Thank you so
correct,
much,
correct.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
I
Salam sir,
compliment.
thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I am very humbled and really grateful to you for this prestigious platform, sir. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As I said, a leader has to create more leaders.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have seen two wonderful leaders here today. Amidst all the other leaders, one is Miss Saujanya, the other is Ramya, ma'am. So both you
Thank you,
are
sir.
very talented. I should, agree to it. And all the, educators who have joined are, as we have seen, there is immense potentials within us. Only thing is to find it out. And many may say that I don't get chances, but every institution gives plenty of opportunities. You have lots of responsibilities in an organization. Take up the responsibility with a, and with a PhD in hand, right? In Saujanya ma'am's words, with a PhD, you all have PhD in hand. You're PhD holder. So this PhD will help you to, work towards the achievement of the goals set by the responsibilities, and you will see that you are a great leader. And for to be a great leader, definitely you need to work with others. Networking is very important nowadays. We learn a lot from others. If you keep all the information or the knowledge within ourselves and we do not share with others, they also will not share with us. We should always try to learn from others, from the surroundings, even from students as well. So we have, wonderful lessons happening every day in our institutions. And only one thing is we have to self-regulate, as Madam has said. You have to keep all the ego, locked inside in a box or in house and come to the school that and see that equity and equality is maintained. And there is no, we are all professionals, and definitely this emotional intelligence and all should play vital roles in your leadership. Thank you so much once again to Saujanya ma'am and Ramya ma'am. Ramya ma'am, wonderful moderation. And
Thank you so much, sir.
thank you and all participants. Be connected. We are creating leaders. We are giving opportunities, plenty of opportunities to lots and lots of educators, enthusiastic educators. Tomorrow also I am holding a session for discovering resource persons. We have training starting tomorrow. So you are all welcome. Come to the forefront and lead the education industry, thereby contributing to yourself to self-regulate and shine as a great leader. So thank you so much. Keep connected. Definitely, Saujanya ma'am will come up with another topic. So let us enrich ourselves once again. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Any questions you can, you can raise. Still, we have time to listen to your questions or your suggestions or anything. Like the sessions, Madam has shared a lot of information and a lot of things you have to introspect. A lot of things. Definitely, you have to introspect and see where you stand. And one Sushma Gauli ma'am has raised her hand. Ma'am, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah. Good evening, ma'am. Yeah, I just had one question going through in my mind. See, as a leader, we need to take sometimes some harsh decisions. And there is no cooperation from the teacher side for that. So, how to deal with such things?
So, ma'am, first, as a teacher leader, you have to win the hearts of your teachers also. So, that trust has to be built with the teachers through communication. So, if you are able to communicate and articulate what you want to express, and if you are able to explain the pros and cons of whatever inputs you are giving, I guess you will definitely get support from your team members also.
Democratic
Yeah,
leadership.
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Hope the question is answered. And any more question? Yeah. So I think we can wind up. Ramya ma'am, your dinner
Yes.
is cooked or you have to cook now?
So, dinner.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law is here to help me out. She is
Yeah.
very
And
supportive, so I
Saujanya
don't have to
ma'am,
worry about dinner.
Yeah, sir. I
Saujanya
also
ma'am,
have
it
a cook
was,
at home, so
yeah, I know that. It was, well, like your strain was, there because a lot of text was there in the slide. So take care and thank you so much once again from Extra Mile Education and Training. Have a good night, everybody.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.